Lauren, so we have your two images for your beauty portrait and your character portrait. And we'll start off by looking at that character portrait. So for your character portrait, you have your subject sitting on the floor, like very cozy on the floor, surrounded by all of these plants. And she's obviously taken great care with these plants. Like they're not just like my plants, like on my windowsill. They're on all these individual stands, and I feel like that gives them each more personality and more value to her. So I really appreciate that aspect of it, that we're seeing she's not just surrounded by plants, but these plants are actually elevated, um, both visually and like conceptually for us. So I think that works really well, having her a little bit lower and then noticing these stands and the care that she takes for her plants, having them surround her, like reaching back behind her. I love that she's really surrounded on all sides. It's reaching under her foot and behind her head. And then you even have this plant in the foreground that falls out of focus, that's creating more depth to the image and bringing us kind of deeper into this fantasy of all of these plants. So I think you're giving us a great insight into who she is just by that. And then as we're looking closer, we can see the book that she's reading is about how to take care of plants or how to design space with plants or something of that sort. So we know that this is even more important to her. And just like you did, was it last week or the week before with the woman that was wearing the orange here, your subject's outfit really is visually cohesive with the scene. So this is a great character portrait that you're creating here. You're using window light, which is just beautiful and enhances the idea of the plants. Using artificial light for an image like this, I don't think would make any sense. So that natural light adds to the overall feel of the image. The image does feel a little magenta to me, so I would make some adjustments just to clean up so that there's not a color cast that we see a little bit here. It just feels a little magenta to me, especially as she's surrounded by all of these green plants. Now, you asked us, well, you didn't ask me, I don't think. I think you were asking your classmates between these two images what you would, what preference we had. And it is going to be a personal preference between the two, right? But I think there's something we can see where this first image seems more likely to be what you would see in a magazine. If you were doing an article on this woman or an article about plants, you'd see an image that's more of a straight photograph, and that's what we see in this first image. The second image, you have edited heavily, and I see that works for the image. I don't think it's overly done, but I don't think it would be appropriate in a magazine or in print necessarily, but it is something that I think would be very successful on a social media or on her webpage if she's selling plants. I think it's selling more of a mood, and there's a place for that. I think there's a place for both of these, but thinking of a print magazine, you would want the first image. Thinking of something online, I think people are editing more heavily for the online format, so that second image would fit that a little bit better. All right, and then let's look at your beauty portrait. And I think it was someone else in this class had done something similar where we can almost, sorry, I'm looking to see if that person is in this class or my other class. I think it's actually my other class. We can almost see this as a totally different person. We're not aligning the two because you've done such a great job of creating a character in the first image or something about her personality that's so strong in the first image. And then in this image, it's all about the glam, which is pulled back a lot, but we can see that that's what it's about here. You've got nice and close. You have lights coming in on the right side, a little bit of light coming in on the left side as well. You have great catch light in her eyes. I would probably pull down the values on her hand a little bit because her hand looks brighter than her face. So I would pull these down a little bit so her face is the brightest point within the frame. But other than that, I think this is a really nicely composed image, nice and close. The lighting's really nice on this. The amount of makeup, I think, shows that this is a beauty shot, but it's not overdone or I don't know, it's not too much for me, I guess is what I'm saying. So I think overall this is a really nice beauty portrait, very straightforward. If I'm thinking of what's going to be more memorable, it's definitely going to be the character portrait, simply because you're telling us about the person. You have a concept behind that, and that's going to always make images more memorable. Great job on this.